Welcome to the 𝘃𝒨𝘁 podcast, a real estate podcast with myself, Jon Steingraber, and my beautiful wife, Michelle Pice. Cheers to the beginning of 𝘃𝒨𝘁. I feel like now we're back and we have a lot to give. We have a lot to offer.
Till this day, by the way, I have to say, the excitement happens the second I land the deal, not when I get paid. It's the art of the deal, landing that up.
Right, it's the chase. Not only are we going to be giving a lot of wisdom and knowledge and experiences and stories, but we're going to bring on guests.
I bartended, babe, so something that you and I have in common, even though...
Babe, you bartended for how long?
3 months.
A day or two?
It's a podcast.
So you were like eating a 𝗪 in Emily's bakery.
I think I was having a pastel de nata.
Okay, pastel de nata.
And a galon.
And if you're a realtor, if you're an investor, you're going to want to subscribe to this podcast.
Hello. Welcome back to the new episode of the 𝘃𝒨𝘁. We have a very special guest today, Mr. Mike Gomes, our CEO of 𝘃𝒨𝘁 Realty NJ. And
COO.
Did I say CEO?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Are you
maybe
giving,
one
are
day.
you giving them hints to the future?
Wait a minute. Am I like putting it out there?
She just eliminated my position.
So John, you're fired.
Sorry, guys.
That's a good intro already,
Yeah.
huh?
Should we start over?
No.
Continue.
You love this
No,
shit.
I love it.
He's like, yes.
Our COO, Michael Gomes, formerly of the 𝗪𝘁 Group, who has risen to the Chief Operating Officer of SRNJ. We are so excited to have you. Thank you so much for joining. So today's topic on 𝘃𝒨𝘁 is real estate investing. And who better than Mike Gomes, you and John, to really just share all your insights. I mean, you guys have flipped, I don't know how many homes, but we're excited to know more about real estate investing. I know our audience is excited to know about real estate investing. And, I just want to start off with saying, Mike, give me your background. I know who you are, but to our viewers, who are you? Who is Michael Gomes?
42-year-old male, married. I like long walks on the beach,
You don't have
park.
time to go to the beach. What are you talking about?
I am a 42-year-old man, proud husband. My wife, I think I'm a proud husband, I have 2 beautiful daughters. I am blessed. Every day I thank God when I wake up in the morning. I am proud of where I am. You guys have given me a great opportunity to be the Chief Operating Officer of a company that has grown substantially over the course of the last couple of years. And I've been blessed to be in front of over 400 agents who just, a lot of them melt my heart. It's been just an incredible journey. I'm at a different chapter in my life today than I was a couple of years back when I was an agent working for you, one of the top agents, by the way. I'm still trying to figure out life, as a dad, as a husband, as a friend, as a leader. And today, life has a different meaning for me. It is truly a journey that I have literally blessed and welcomed it. And every day, I'm just simply grateful for being able to get up in the morning and truly do what I'm actually passionate about, which is really not just growing 𝘃𝒨𝘁 with fantastic people, but being around fantastic people like our agents, like you guys, and making an impact. Today, I'm really emotional about what we do and what I do because I really feel that we touch hearts. I make an impact every day. And going home, yesterday I was on my way home, it was 10 o'clock at night, and yesterday was one of the happiest days. For whatever reason, I was just happy. I was in a great mood from start to finish. And I asked myself why. What happened yesterday? I was with Lisa Jordan. I was with a bunch of agents. There was 𝗲𝗪 going on. There was conversations with other agents. We were looking at numbers. We're looking at our goals. And I said to myself, we really made an impact on so many lives. I don't think people outside of our brokerage, including my own family members, they don't see what kind of impact I really make every day. And I say to people all the time, if you asked me 20 years ago, if I hit the lottery and I hit $100 million, what I would do, it would be a lot different than today. Today, I would truly use the money to continue to impact lives, right? So I go to work not because of the money. I truly go to work because I'm making a difference. And you guys have given me that platform. So I'm really appreciative of that. God has given me the platform to be a father, which has been my, I guess, biggest flex, like you said the other day about buying your grandmother a home. That is, and I told you when you were having your daughter, that is going to change you in so many positive ways. And the moment I became a father, that was the day I became selfless, right? Because before that, I was probably selfish. Most of us are, right? And to have that feeling, knowing that you would do whatever for human beings and have this unconditional love, and at any given moment, whether it's a good day or a bad day, you're just happy to be in that moment, right? Whether your kid's screaming or not screaming, to me, it's just exciting to be put in a position where, you can feel in your heart that unconditional love for these little two small human beings who obviously are growing. And I feel that way not only with my kids, I also feel that way with people at Signature. Like, I love being around, all the agents that are there every day, George Bellino, who's in front of me. Like, I don't even consider it work. It's a family outside of my own immediate family.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, when you live with that purpose where you are impacting people's lives, I mean, we've helped some agents go from here to here, and seeing that impact, and it all kind of relates to the topic because it's real estate, right? Whether it's real estate investing, being a real estate agent, it's moving the needle for somebody in their lives. We've had teachers come in that are making $55,000 a year, and now they're making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year.
Teachers do make the best agents, everybody. So if you're a teacher out there, call us.
It's true.
They really do. I mean, one of my best agents
It is.
have a background in education. So they're patient, right? They're organized for the most part, all good qualities. But you are, so obviously now you run Signature Realty NJ, you're the COO. Prior to that, you were a top producing agent at the 𝗪𝘁 Group. You were doing very, very well. Then you were also in the mortgage business.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
That's how we met.
Exactly. I got into the mortgage business like late 2003 because of, at the time, my ex-fiance's parents, Stella and Jay, who I'm still very good friends with. Not with my ex-fiance, so if my wife is watching. But they had some fancy cars and fancy house and a glamorous lifestyle, and I was like, wow, what do they do? And Jay was in a mortgage business. Stella was a real estate agent, which she still is. And at the time, I wanted to get into real estate. I actually took the real estate course with my mother, not because I wanted to take it. My mother wanted to take it.
Oh, wow.
She never completed it. I ended up completing it. And I kind of regret it. I should have forced her to just finish it. But I got into the mortgage business. I was really going to get into the real estate business, but then I sat down with Jay, who was at the time at 𝗪𝘁, which was a small, residential mortgage brokerage. And I really started falling in love with the thought of being a loan officer.
Numbers excited you?
Yeah, numbers definitely excited me. Still excites me today. So I got into the business. I went to work with Jay for just a small stint, and then I ended up going to a small company called Velocity Lending with these guys, Carlos, Roger, Mike. And I was there for a couple of years, did very well. It's actually how I met Jon when I was there. And you, yeah, because you were doing business with 𝗪𝘁, I still remember. And I was in a mortgage business. Obviously, 2007 happened. That was kind of detrimental to my business and also to my mental state because I didn't have people around me that I can lean on for good advice, unfortunately. And that's not, that's me. I should have blamed myself for it. Then it became pretty rocky right after that. I was in and out of different companies, Countrywide then got bought out by Bank of America. Bank of America, I went to residential home funding, was there for just a couple of months. And loans didn't excite me. And I still remember this to this day. My first flip, my actual flip, not like in 2004, I bought a bunch of properties. I had 2 family houses. And, back then what people were doing, they were just literally buying houses and flipping it the next month. I wasn't doing any work to it. So I didn't flip anything. Like I didn't renovate properties. I was just literally buying and just turning it around, selling it for a premium. 05, 06 was crazy like that, very similar to today. Probably crazier then than it is today.
Yeah.
Right.
But the money aspect always excited me. Obviously the ability to, make so much money in such a short period of time was exciting. It's exciting for anybody, obviously. And that's why I got in it.
So you would buy these properties at wholesale? Like
No.
Would you wholesale them? Would you renovate them?
No, I wouldn't do anything. I would just literally close on title today, and I would just turn around tomorrow and put it on a market for
how
like
it was.
40,000. That's how it was.
That's how it was.
Like I would buy a house in March, and April I would sell it for $40,000 more.
Yeah.
Without doing anything.
Without
No,
doing
because
anything.
everything was going up at like 5% a month.
Yeah.
Right. So if you had the property, you put it right back on the market, and the house was $400,000, you could put it up for $450,000, and somebody would buy it.
Yeah, and the appreciation was crazy. Plus, also the buyer pool was so large because it was 100% financing.
Right.
That's
Like
right.
if you had a pulse, you were buying.
Yeah.
Right. Literally, stated income, stated assets. So a lot of people were fabricating what they were making.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the
Seller
reality.
concessions, all that.
Seller concession and much more than that. I mean, I'm not going to get into it, but you know, I got in there. Then 2007 was really detrimental to me financially. I owned a bunch of 2-family houses. Tenants stopped paying me purposely. They're like, I'm not going to pay you. I can't afford it, even though they had jobs. What are you going to do? You can't force them to pay you. The eviction process in New Jersey is pretty lengthy, right? And guess what? You know, when you have 12 mortgages to pay, a couple of people not paying you, it's going to set you back. You know, so then I started, instead of losing properties, and this is where I kind of went down like the road of depression, right? Because, you know, you're here, and then all of a sudden, in a blink of an eye, now you're here, everything is gone. You know, I was just like ready to just give everything up. Like, oh, you know, I don't care about the properties, let the bank take it. And then Stella, who, my ex-fiance's mom, she's like, don't let it go to foreclosure. Do a short sale. And short sales were very new to a lot of people back then. And by the way, they're not short. They were very long and lengthy, right? Today, they're a little bit shorter. But instead of me allowing the properties to go into foreclosure, right, and get auctioned off, and then the bank retained it, I short sold the properties. So basically, I sold the properties for a lot less than what I owed on the mortgage. So I did that. So that calmed me down a little bit. But I went from having $300,000 to like literally having my last $50,000 in the bank. And I remember I had an opportunity. I still remember REO agent Goran, still a good friend of mine, 𝗪𝗁𝗁. Shout out to him because he kind of changed my life with that one deal. It's a 2-family on 𝗺𝗁 Street in Linden. I have $50,000 to my name, legitimately $50,000. And the property, this is insane, was for sale for $75,000. He's like, hey, do you want to buy it? I was just developing a relationship with him. And I said, yes, but I didn't tell him I had only $50,000. So I said, yeah, I'm going to buy it. You know, got under contract, had the $50,000, and now I'm like, oh shit, I got to go get the other money. But my credit sucks.
That's right.
Right.
I mean, my credit was bad, you know.
And everybody was suffering.
Everybody's suffering. I couldn't get a loan from a bank. My credit cards are maxed out. Like I literally stopped paying my Amex cards, all 3 of them, right? I negotiated pennies on the dollars, right? I'm like, what am I going to do? And I have a $30,000 deposit. Now I got $20,000 left. And I'm scrambling. This is to your point, because John is all about becoming resourceful. My back's against the wall. Like most people fail at this part, right? My back's against the wall. And at this point is like, I got to figure this out. And I know that if I figure this out, this is going to change me, right? It's going to change me. So I have interview after interview after interview with people that lend money. And
Hard money.
Private money. And they're saying, no. At the 11th hour, when I tell you the 11th hour, I'm talking about the last week when I got to close. Goran's putting pressure on me. And I'm telling him, I'm lying to him, saying, I'm going to close. Everything's good. I don't want him to think that he took a gamble on the wrong person. So I don't want to disappoint him either, or disappoint myself. So I come across this couple, actually this guy Nelson, who's a loan officer. He's like, Mike, I can't help you, but there's a couple, 𝘹 and Pete. They may be able to help you. So I get on the phone with them. I still remember this conversation. I don't know them from a hole in the wall. They don't know me from a hole in the wall. And I tell them my situation. I'm very honest with them, right? Hey, I'm under contract on a property. I have very little money. I need help. I need not only the money for the acquisition, but I need the money for the rehab. Yeah. Rehab is about $75,000. So they took a chance on me. You know why? Because I was at the time, I'm friends with Stella. That's my ex-fiance's mom. Jay works at Mortgage Plus. Pete was very good friends with the owners at Mortgage Plus. And somehow that came out. There was commonality. And they're like, oh, we know Jay. And they didn't care about my financial distress. They don't care about my credit. They said, we'll lend you the money. We have a feeling about you. And I'm like,
So
wow.
this just goes to show that sometimes it's not what you know, it's who you know. And
Yeah.
being around the right circle and having the right relationships, right? In this case, the relationships.
And being resourceful, like figuring things out. And that's what I did. And asking. People are so scared, you know, and I had to ask my uncle for money.
At the end of the day, it wasn't a big risk for the lender because it's collateralized by a 3-family house in Linden that has rental income probably coming in, or it's a tangible asset, right?
Yeah. So I got the money. I did a lot of the work myself, believe it or not, sheetrocking, some of the plumbing, some wiring. I did that all by myself, not knowing much. My father owns a contracting business. When I got exhausted, right, and I said, all right, this is it. I don't have the knowledge to finish this. I got to get my father in here. And I didn't want to get my father in here. So I did. I hired my father to complete the project, ran out of money again, borrowed money from my uncle for another $25,000, ended up selling that property to actually a good friend of mine who still to this day owns that property, in which the property now has gone up in value probably 3 or 4x. And I made my first $70,000 actually flipping. And that changed my entire life.
Wow, that's a great story.
Yeah.
Love
And
that.
I never looked back, and I started flipping more and more and more. 2-family after 2-family after 2-family. And by the way, credit still sucked. And I just started following the same process.
Took a couple
borrowing
years.
money. Yeah, it took a couple of years.
So that first flip, that wasn't your first flip, was it?
It was my first rental flip.
Reno flip, okay.
Yeah.
Because you were, okay. So that specific Reno flip changed your life.
Yeah.
And,
That's
and from there, how many have you, till this day, how many homes have you flipped?
probably about over 70. But that was the one that I can vividly remember. That's the one that changed everything for me.
And have you made money on most of them? Were there some really big losses? Can you share?
Yeah, 2007 and 8, the 2 families that I held, I lost a lot of money. You know, I lost over probably $200,000. I was putting 10%, 15%, 20%. And, I remember I bought a property on Fulton Street in Elizabeth. I paid $500,000 at the time. It was a good deal. And it ended up being worth like $200,000, like literally 2 years later.
But even those experiences didn't scare you because you're still flipping. So even those big losses haven't scared you.
No, because I learned so much from it. Those losses were lessons for me.
I like that. Losses were lessons.
Yeah. And I learned tremendously from it. And today I do things a lot differently than I did back then.
Share with us. What do you do differently now?
I really underwrite every flip I do, right? I do worst case scenario numbers. I add 10 to 15% for unexpected items. I don't buy and hold anymore. In the past I was, and I have a different aspect. And this is why I love real estate. There's so many niches that you can carve out that works for you. Like, I'm not a buy and hold individual. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, that's not me. Like, I like to make a lot of money flipping properties a year and I'm fine. And the end goal for me is when I'm ready to chuck it up and, ride out to the sunset, I'll look for a big unit and I'll park my money there. That's what I want to do. I don't want to deal with tenants today, and I know that the rental market is great. I'm not the type of person that wants to handle that.
Yeah,
I'm not,
it's not for everybody.
Exactly. And plus I have some bad experiences that have led me to believe this is a better route for me. And the last 10 years, once I pivoted and I made that transition, it's paid dividends for me making that change.
And how do you find your deals? Because you've heard the saying, I've heard the saying, the second it lands on the MLS, it's not a good deal anymore.
Yeah, I've been lucky. And I'll tell you why I've been lucky. I've developed a lot of great relationships with a lot of people where they know me as a closer. Like, if I tell someone, look, I'll take that deal, right? They know that I'm closing 100%. And unfortunately, some people that find deals and then they try to wholesale that out, they have learned that there's a lot of people in this business that are not true to their word, right? And I am a cash buyer. I've been blessed enough to make enough money where most of my transactions right now, all of them actually, I'm buying it all cash, right? I like to do that because sometimes, by saving on the finance charges every month and some of the carrying costs, I can make sense of some deals that probably wouldn't make sense if I went the hard money route. And Jon and I had a conversation with one of our agents, I don't want to name them, but they're doing hard money right now in a flip. And had they been able to finance it themselves, they would make probably an extra $25,000. And now he's in a little bit of pinch where he's got his back against the wall, and he may make some money or he may break even, right? And I just don't want to put myself in that position where a lot of times the hard money lender wins.
Most of the time, the hard money lender, not most of the time, but oftentimes, because
I think it's a matter of just like analyzing the deal, like you said, and what are your resources? I think hard money lenders are a great resource, and some of them are 10% down, where you wouldn't be able to get into a deal. Like it's easy for all of us to say now, like where we're at financially, oh yeah, we're buying this house cash with our own money. But that's not how we got started.
No,
right?
It was a hard money lender that saved me.
Right. We all borrowed money when we first got started, and I continue to borrow money. And if it's a hard money lender, that was probably my last resort. You know, it's typically private money lenders that I get at a better rate, and it's just a little bit easier. But hard money lenders are a great resource, especially for people that are watching this and they're new. Right? Like we love Alpha Funding and Express Capital. Those are the two that I recommend to people because they have been in the business for a long time. They understand the business. They understand what we're doing. And not only that, they go beyond just that transaction and they build a relationship with them. Like having that capital partner is important in the beginning of your relationship until you get to the point where you graduate and then you have your own cash and you could do that. Especially for you, Mike, because like, what you were saying, you were like, okay, my cash is used for flipping, right? Because you can't justify, right? You're going to make the same rate of return that you would pay another lender. So that's why you don't buy and hold.
Correct.
Right? Because it's like, okay, if I put my money over here with today's, return on investment that I'm going to make 8-9%. But then I'm going to pay that anyway if I go to flip a house, and I'm not stopping flipping. So you just use that capital instead of having a long-term hold. But I remember when we were doing the flipping case studies, event, the 4-hour event that we did. Yeah. And then I talked about like the Newark warehouse commercial property that we purchased. And you were like, wow. Right. So I feel like there is certain opportunities that you probably would take advantage of for a long-term hold if it was more commercial, right? Commercial opportunities to be able to build a significant amount of net worth.
For income producing properties, 100%. I would not use my money for it. I would definitely get a loan for it. And hard money, look, here's the thing about hard money. Hard money, there's opportunity costs too, right? So here's the downfall of what I do. The disadvantage is if I have a lot of my money tied up, and it has happened before, and another opportunity comes and I don't have the money for it, right? That becomes a problem. I'm actually losing money there because that opportunity I wasn't able to capitalize. That's the great thing about leveraging your money and borrowing hard money or private money or just conventional loans, right? You can spread your money where you can do more transactions. Right. And that has happened to me where, all right, there's an opportunity here. What am I going to do? I don't fully capitalize on that opportunity. I figure out how maybe to get my name there or, lock it up and then maybe wholesale it to somebody else or, do a 50-50 partnership with someone.
I mean, if it's a good deal, you're going to be resourceful and you're going to make it happen, period.
Yeah. And we do.
I mean, that's what it comes down to. I mean, and everybody watching this, if you're looking to do flips, you should have capital partners. And obviously, if you have good credit and you have good income, you could, go to our, mortgage lenders, right? John Palumbo with Movement Mortgage and 𝗪𝘁 or John Lampkin with Guaranteed Rate. Like these guys can give you loans for your investment properties. And if you're planning on buying, fixing, and then refining and renting, they have programs for that. So It all depends on the scenario and kind of what your objectives are, right? Like what I think the lessons, or at least what I'm getting out of it for people is like, be relentless and be resourceful, right? Be relentless and be resourceful. Don't give up. Yeah, the market crashed, one of the biggest crashes in history. You went through it, you had properties, and you're like, do you put your hands up or do you keep grinding? And thankfully you made the decision to go that route. And I think a lot of people can relate to that, and if you're at a place right now that you're like, oh yeah, it's easy. And this is what I kind of get a lot, like, oh, it's easy for you guys because you started then and real estate prices were lower.
Well, everyone thinks it's easy.
Right. But everybody always thinks for some reason like, oh yeah, but now it's harder. It's like, relax, right? Like back then it was the same thing, like a $300,000 house. You were like 300's a lot, where now you're like 500's a lot. It's the same thing, right? And people are getting divorced. you know, people are passing away and people are inheriting those homes and they'll let them go for a little bit less money. There's still deals to be had. We did 22 deals last year, and this year we're doing a bunch of deals. You did a bunch of deals, right? There's a lot of investors doing a lot of deals. I think it's like 20 or 25% of homes that sell for cash.
So
right.
basically
So there's
what
still
you're saying-
opportunity.
So basically what you're saying is that real estate investment is still a smart choice to do in today's market with the lack of inventory, with high
I think
interest
I think it's even better today than before. I think that going into a project knowing that the market is not going to change anytime soon because of lack of inventory,
Right.
regardless of the rates, having that cushion of comfort, that is a game changer in my opinion. You didn't have that comfort back in 06. It could have just imploded at any moment.
And it did.
And it exactly did. I remember I bought a 2-family like on March of 2007 because real estate was still good there. And then like April, May, things just went sour.
Yeah.
Down very quickly.
Yeah, let's talk about some tips and tricks for people that are listening, because obviously we don't have a ton of time. We got to get back to work. What are some of the tips and tricks that we have for people just trying to start out? Like, how do I find the deal? What team member should I have? Like, what are some of the things that you would suggest, you know, from your perspective?
Yeah. So what I do differently today than I did back then is try to treat it like a business, right? Have people in place to do certain things like cold callers, right? I have a cold caller who calls pre-foreclosures every day. And she calls every list, every county.
Wait, you do that now?
Yeah, right now.
Oh, wow. Okay,
Yeah,
so you have like a VA doing it?
Yeah, yeah. And she sets up, her name is 𝗵𝒊𝒈, and she sets up a bunch of appointments every day,
Okay.
right? Because I don't have the time.
Right.
So I need to delegate. And even if I had the time, I don't want to do it.
Okay.
I don't want to be the one cold calling.
So she sets up the appointments to meet with these homeowners?
Yes.
And who goes on the appointment?
Well, I will on the weekends, right?
Okay.
And then I try to see whether or not it's a good deal for me to buy, or then if it's a property that I think they're better suited just putting it on the market, there's enough equity there, then I refer out to an agent signature, right?
Okay.
So
Right, because you can get listing opportunities or you could purchase them.
correct.
And that's how we always approach it. So if you're a realtor and an investor, which is kind of what the topic is, you know, a lot of realtors are probably watching that want to be investors, right? You go in with more than one option. Like, one, you can list your house, and two, you know, I can buy it. And the biggest difference is, right, there's a big difference between price and terms, right? My terms are going to be really good. I'm going to buy it cash. And buying cash doesn't mean that you have the money in your bank account, right? Buying cash means that you're waiving your mortgage contingency.
Right.
That's what buying cash means on a contract. A lot of people think, oh, I need to have all the cash. No, right? It's buying cash is waiving your mortgage contingency and basically offering terms. They're flexible. I'm not moving into your house. So when do you want to move out? Right? And you can leave your stuff behind. I'll get the CO for you. All those things, I think, add to the value.
Yeah.
We recently just sold a house that was a scenario like that, right? Like,
And I have bid with you on appointments, whereas actually him and I went on a recent appointment, the one in Summit, where I got the call as the agent, and I went in as the agent. I told him that he can make so much more money on the MLS,
Right.
because we would sell it for top dollar. And he said no, and he understood that he wanted the terms. Because the house was a wreck, he didn't want to be bothered with.
well,
the
he wanted to
inspections
live
and
there
all.
for months before we closed, right? Everybody's got a different scenario. So it's really just talking to individuals, like you're saying, whether it's cold calling, every door direct mail, and really finding the motivated sellers. That's what I think the key is, right? You have to ask yourself, where are the motivated sellers? He
you're saying
mentioned the
short
niche
sales.
of pre-foreclosures. What's a pre-foreclosure? When somebody is
Behind on their mortgage.
they're not paying their mortgage payment, right? They're behind on their mortgage, and the bank has already filed a list pendants, right? After 3 months legally in New Jersey, if you stop making your mortgage payment, the bank can file the list pendants, and that becomes public record. So you can purchase the list of pre-foreclosures. You can go to like realtytrack.com with a C at the end. You can go to foreclosure.com. I don't know where you buy it
New
from.
Jersey listpendants.com.
New Jersey list pendants, njlistpendants.com,
Yep.
PropStream. There's all these websites that give you access to these people, and then they do a reverse lookup. They probably have like a subscription, and then they come up with their phone number, and then your cold caller can call them, or you could personally call them. Like, I'm not opposed to cold calling. I don't really cold call,
No.
because at this point I hit my goals with like, you know, other avenues of getting deals, but looking at who the motivated sellers are. And pre-foreclosures today are not a bad avenue. Why? Because they have equity in their home. Back then in 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010, everybody owed $500,000, $600,000 on their house, but their house was worth $250,000, $300,000. So you would have to do a short sale.
Yep.
right? And in order to do a short sale, you had to list it on the market. Well, now it's different. If you're behind your mortgage, your house is worth 500. It's probably in a little bit of distress. We could go in there, fix it up, and sell it for 650. But you owe 350. You could take a 450 offer, not pay commissions, and it could still be a good deal for them and for us.
Correct.
So there's equity built in there, unless the property is just a total disaster. But that's the idea. So there's different motivated sellers out there, and it's making relationships with wholesalers and keeping your word. I mean, there's so many.
Finding those motivated sellers.
Yeah, I don't like to wholesale because of what you said. Yeah. There's a lot of people that aren't closers, right? And if I wholesale a deal for 10 or 15,000, it's like, why would I do that? Why don't I just close on it? I have all the resources to go in and fix it up.
Well, wait a minute. Some wholesalers don't have the resources. They're just getting the deal, like they're locking it in and they're assigning it to somebody else.
No, I know. And that's what they do to us. Yeah. Like I have wholesalers that sell us properties, right?
Yeah. Correct.
Yeah. So my last question is, what is the biggest lesson that you have learned that you wish someone would have shared it with you throughout this journey?
As an investor?
As an investor.
The biggest one, I would say, treat it like a business. In the very beginning, it wasn't structured whatsoever. I mean, and still to this day, it's not as structured as it should be. But in the beginning, it was really like I would call when I felt like calling. I wasn't great at analyzing property. So I think the biggest lesson would be find deals. Don't worry about the money. If you have a good deal, the money will come. There is so much money. I've learned that in the last 10 years that there is so much money on the street right now. And even back then, right? I was so focused on, I don't have the money. And I was so focused on the money piece versus focusing on the deals. If you carve out a niche of finding deals, right? And you could do that consistently, there's going to be money pouring in. And then you can build up equity partnerships where, you can get a piece of the equity when the investor turns around, flips it. You could do a 50-50 partnership where you're bringing the deal, somebody comes in as a capital partner. There's so many ways to get really creative. There's so many ways to skin the cat, is like I say it, right? So don't. And if you're a licensed
realtor, I mean, you could wholesale it, make your wholesale fee, and then say, can you promise me the listing on the back end?
Yeah, and then to that aspect, the other big lesson was, because when I was really wholesaling back then, or buying properties back in 2004 and 5, I didn't have my real estate license. Most people, like if you go on 60 appointments, you're not buying the vast majority of those houses. No. If you get lucky, you may get 3 or 4 of them. But the other 56 people are motivated in selling. If you have your real estate license, right, you can offer them the opportunity of putting it on the MLS, because that's the right thing to do sometimes, right? Depending on their situation, where they're going to make more money. And guess what? You're going to make more money than probably most wholesalers are.
Oh, yeah. Always.
Right? And that's actually a point that I was just going to
Well,
make.
one of our podcasts, wait, don't go into our other podcast.
No, but one of the
We have another podcast topic that's real estate agent versus real estate investor, what's better?
Yes, but one of the points I wanted to make is, if you are an investor, how important is it to have your real estate license?
Everybody that tells you not to get your real estate license as an investor is doing something shady.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. Right? Because if you're going in with the seek to serve mentality like we do, we go in, I talk to somebody and I go, hey, I'm a real estate agent, real estate broker in New Jersey. There's 2 options. 1, I can buy your house, or 2, I can list your house, whatever your situation is best. Right? And we always do that. And they're just like, oh, wow, that's great. Right? And then we give them both options. We go, look, if you list it on the market, you're probably going to make $50,000, $60,000 more. We do need to, correct this, and this. You have a couple open permits. Let's fix that. I can help you with that. Oh, well, why would you do that? Well, I'm making a commission. Right? Either way, I mean, if you're making a few percent commission on that, that's like wholesaling it, but you're selling it. And then you have a happy customer. What's the lifetime value of that customer? $50,000, $100,000. They're going to recommend you more people.
Of course.
You might get a buyer from there, double end the deal. You might get 3 other buyers that you're working with, or 3 other listings from the neighbors. There's a lot of opportunity. So it's not taking that approach of, well, I want to make $60,000 and screw this person over. No, if that's the best thing for them, to sell the house, get the cash in 14 days, 21 days, leave stuff behind, make it easy, don't pay a commission, and then just get done with it, then great. Why do some of the big conglomerate companies have these iBuyer programs like Open Door and stuff? Because some people just want the convenience of doing that. And the analogy that I always use is, you can clean up your car, detail it when you go to sell it, and put it on cargurus.com and Craigslist. But what do people do? They trade it in.
Yeah.
Why do they trade it in? Because they think they're getting the best value? No, they know that they're getting less money, but the terms are better. Right. Like I drive my car there, I hand my keys and title to the guy, or if I have a lien on it, they take care of all that for me, and then they go, this is the price, and then you could drive away in another car. It's exactly the convenience.
What we did, actually. It's the and I'm all about convenience. All about convenience.
Right.
We just did the same thing with our car. Right?
We did. And we know that we got a little bit less, but there's value in convenience. That's right. So,
and there's value also in giving people options, right? When you give them several options, the likelihood of you hearing no is a lot less. Right. You give them one option, right? Chances are it's a 50-50 shot that it's going to be a no.
But the truth is that's the right thing to do.
Correct.
Right? It's the right, a lot of investors go in and they just poo-poo the house and are like, oh, your house is a piece of shit. Like you have this, you have that. I'll pay you this. I can't pay you more. And they try to lock up the deal. And then they're not even buying the house, right? No. They're wholesaling it, right? So going in and saying, hey, you have two options. Like you can have this option or this option. Here's the pros and cons. Here's the pros and cons. Which one's better for you? That's taking the server approach. And that's how I feel like you build a reputation, right? If you treat it like a business, you're building a reputation.
Correct. Well, this was great. I learned a ton about investing. I mean, I feel like I know a lot because of you, but now listening to your story and just getting your perspective, I mean, I learned a ton, and I hope you guys learned a ton from Mike and Jon as well. Thank you for being a part of.
Well, I'm going to just say one thing. If you really want to learn a lot more, like honestly, I mean, Jon's 𝗀𝗃 meetup is the best when it comes to education. You will learn so much from just being there once or twice. You know, the amount of knowledge that comes from there, the case studies, all of that.
And if you're
and if you want to find your partner, it might not be a bad idea. Because for those of you that don't know, this is where Jon and I fell in love at 𝗀𝗃.
That's true. Yeah.
Mike, you're awesome. Thank you so much for being a part of Signature SIP.
I appreciate it.
I learned a lot.
Absolutely. And, for those of you that want to learn more from Mike and myself on the investing side, aside from 𝗀𝗃, because that's only once a quarter.
Yeah.
Right. We actually, in our 2024 Signature Realty calendar, we have monthly real estate investing topics and trainings that we're teaching our agents about real estate investing, not just for flipping, but also buy and hold. Correct. So if that's something that you guys are interested in, take a look at our website, exploresignature.com, and set up an appointment if you are a realtor and you want to learn from us. That's a big opportunity. So thanks, Mike, for always sharing and giving. We love to have you at Signature and on the podcast. You are the glue to Signature Realty. You've been a blessing to us, and the feeling is always mutual, and we love you, man.
Appreciate it. Love you guys too.
All right.
Thank you.